Good afternoon and welcome to the 2020 Fulfilling the Dream event. My name is Armand Moore and I am a Life Scout from Troop 258, chartered right here in Grand Rapids, Michigan by the Brown Hutchinson Ministries. What scouting means to me is a lot. Scouting's opened up a lot of doors for me. It will continue to open a lot of doors for me. It's a great endorsement for any career that I want to take. It's made me a lot of lifelong friends, and it's helped me connect with my community. I've gotten to know a lot of great people along my way to becoming a Boy Scout, and I think becoming a Boy Scout is one of the greater things I've done in my life. So, in conclusion, I am honored to be your MC for this virtual luncheon today. We have some great things in store for you, starting with the great discussion focused on what the meaning of leadership is. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Tracy Brame, Associate Dean of Cooley Law School, and Reverend Nathaniel Moody, founder of the Brown Hutchinson Ministries, as they discuss what leadership means to them.
Thank you so much, Armand. And you can see just from Armand's presence and his words what a fine job our troop is doing with the young men and women that we have the pleasure to work with. I'd like to now welcome Pastor Nathaniel Moody, and my name is Tracy Brame. I'm one of the Scout Masters of 258, so again, I have the pleasure of working with Armand all the time. But today, I also have the pleasure of talking to Pastor Moody, who also happens to be my pastor, a little bit about leadership, right? Which is, of course, one of the quintessential goals that we have when it comes to our young men and women in our troop. So, Pastor Moody, can you tell us a little bit about what leadership means to you? What do you think about when you hear that word?
You know, one of the things that really captured me back in 1977, I was at Morehouse College campus. And in being at Morehouse College campus, I had the first time to meet the late President, Dr. Benjamin E. Mays. And I was ecstatic over meeting him. But there was a quote that he had gave. And the quote went something like this. He said that a man and a woman are born into this world to do something unique and something distinctive. And if he or she does not do it, it will never get done. When that quote came from that man's mouth, it captured me, and I understood the importance of what leadership is. Finding what is uniquely important for you to do, and understanding that whatever it is, it has to be something distinctive. And distinctive means that it won't be forgotten. It'll always be remembered because you did it.
That is beautiful. That will now stick with me. Thank you very much for sharing that.
Good.
So tell me a little bit about how that vision has played out in your life. So, in addition to hearing Dr. Mays speak about it, how has your experiences in your life?
How it played in my life is understanding that, there comes a point in time you got to step up, and you got to realize that even though you may not have certain skills that other people have, it has nothing to do with it. It has everything to do with what you're willing to do and the sacrifice that you're willing to make to do it. For example, watching you and your husband when you first brought the Boy Scouts into our ministry, I began to realize what a unique and distinctive thing in the community. How do we help you guys get to where you need to be? That's leadership. The leadership that you brought also brought a distinctiveness as to what the church, the community itself needs to see. And I think those things play a very important role in my life as well. For as a little kid, I was in Cub Scouts. And by the time I got to become a Boy Scout, our scoutmaster had dismantled our scout troopers at Shelton Elementary School back in the early 60s. But nevertheless, that leadership alone began to say that there was something out there that we have to find ourselves in. And in doing so, it becomes a very important point for us to search and realize that from the time we're children to the time we become adults, that we're born to be leaders.
Right. Well, that kind of leads me to my next question. You answered it a little bit, and it was going to be about, how you came to sponsor our troop, or what made you bring our troop into your church. You already have a youth department, of course, and but you have welcomed the troop into the church. Can you talk a little bit about why and the impact that you've seen it have on the kids at the church?
I mean, just knowing that this is something that you and your husband wanted to do along with Mr. Moore. Congratulations to Mr. Moore and his award. Watching the fact that parents needed something to have their kids involved in, both males and females. And understanding, once again, that leads to new types of leadership. And looking at the fact that in growing up, we went on a lot of camping trips, but we never really had the opportunity to build things while we're out in camping. We were under a tent, and all we did was a little fishing, but there was no real camaraderie, as I've seen you guys do with our troops. The camaraderie is the building, the racing cars, looking at the kids laugh, looking at the kids talk, even with circumstances that you deal with privately, also helps build those individuals to one day never forget that you guys started something, you brought it into our church, and to bring it to our church, that's leadership. My felt heart was, hey, you know what? Let me help them get to where they need to be. And in doing that, let others see that it can be done, not just in our ministry, but in other ministries as well. I would have wanted to see Grand Rapids, other churches take the lead and do the same thing that you guys did in our church. So leadership begots leaders from the time that they're little to the time that they become adults. Just watching Lee's son earlier today, that's leadership. Watching him grow and seeing him for the first time when he came into the church with you guys, and then there's others, even your children, seeing that they are going to someday be the people who will run this country. That's leadership.
Amen. Well, we certainly thank you for your leadership, Pastor Woody, because I have to say there has not been anything that we needed that you have not made sure that we had.
Thank you.
You have opened the door and given us a key even. You've opened your doors to us every step of the way. And because of that, I do believe we've been able to pour into the lives of the kids that have come to the truth.
Now, you guys were the only group that got keys.
Fair enough.
Nobody else.
and we take that as an honor and a privilege. We really do. And so we thank you for your leadership and giving us opportunity to fulfill this dream. It was really a dream of my husband, Kenyatta.
Good.
So thank
good.
you for helping us make it happen.
And there's a lot of quotes that I can give you. I want to give you one more. And this one is by Miles Monroe. And Miles once quoted, he said, the greatest tragedy in life is not death. The greatest tragedy in life is living life without purpose. And I think that leadership is finding your purpose, the goals you set, and achieving those goals, and then moving on to the next goal, and then reaching back and helping somebody else reach their goals. That's leadership, whether it's at home, whether it's on your job, whether it's just riding the car or getting out, seeing somebody that's in need of some help and realizing that they need help. Because leadership has to have a foundation. That foundation must be based on righteousness. If it's not based on righteousness and love, then you will betray the people you're trying to lead.
Thank you very much for that. You are certainly a walking example.
Thank you. Thank you. I try to be. In our conversations, let me be the one to ask you these questions. Tell me about your life as a leadership in terms of how you've grown in your hometown of Detroit and how you got to Grand Rapids and you went to law school, and the leadership that you had around your family and in your city, people who inspired you to get you to be the kind of leader that you are today.
Absolutely. Well, my inspiration for leadership, I really think comes from a heart of service. My family, I grew up in a first generation middle class family in Detroit in the 80s, and my family very much valued education. They took education very seriously. Drove me to do my best in school, expected great things from me. So therefore, I took education seriously. Believe it or not, I wanted to be a sportscaster when I was younger. I love sports to this day.
Yeah.
But when I went away to college, again, my parents made a lot of sacrifices and prepared me to go off to college. I went to University of Michigan, and there I was able to meet people just from all over the country and all over the world. My world expanded exponentially just walking onto that campus in Ann Arbor. And the people that I met there, the classes I was able to take, I was able to get my degree, and I realized how powerful education could be and how powerful it could be for me to take the education that I was able to receive and take it back to my community. And so again, for me, it was really about service. I went on to law school for the same reason. In my first semester of law school, I met a man named Brian Stevenson, who has a Harvard law degree and spends his days representing poor folks on death row. And I was cast at that point. I truly believe that work representing indigent people who find themselves in turmoil is what God called me to do.
Good.
And I have steered my life in that direction ever since. Along the way, of course, I've had children and started to teach at the law school and ebbed and flowed, and I've kind of come full circle this year, and we'll be working again with the Innocence Project at the law school in January, kind of returning, to that first level, trying to help people in need. So that's kind of the root of my leadership. I've never sought positions for title or position's sake, but along the way, that heart for service has just led me to positions where I find
Most leaders never run to become that particular person. It is kind of thrusted upon them. And so by not trying to become that particular leader, you're already there. I think that's important. And sometimes you don't even see that you are a leader. And I think that just watching you, hearing you talk, hey, I'm not this great big leader, but you are. Because your students and your family and your friends around you see in that leadership capacity. So I'm going to ask you this question. Just think about it for just a quick second. What was it that inspired you to come to the recognition of what you thought leadership was?
That's a deep question, Pastor. You're good at asking deep questions. And I really think that has come to me recently. I've only recently accepted what you said before. Like you said, sometimes leaders don't chase after those roles, but they're thrust upon them. And across the arc of my life, and I'll be 50 this year, so I'm kind of doing that. Right at that middle age point, across the arc of my life, I found myself in situations where people have asked me to take part in certain endeavors or take on a leadership role, and I always wonder, why do you want me? And so I finally kind of come to this place where I understand that I really think that God wants me to be an example, and has placed me in that leadership role. And so now that inspiration, I think, comes from saying, okay, yes, okay, I will do that. Right? You know what I mean? And I will stop fighting it, and I will embrace it. And by doing so, hopefully, even in middle age, kind of continue to hone those skills necessary to take whatever it is that God wants me to do to the next level, right? And that, so to certainly always keep that servant's heart and that giving spirit, but to also say, okay, Lord, now, what is it that you want me to do, and how do you want me to lead?
I commend you for your age, because most women would never tell their age.
Oh, I am proud.
Yes, and now that's leadership.
I figure, I can't fight it, so I may as well, embrace it.
There you go. I thought you were at least 25.
I knew there was a reason I liked you. Thank you so much, Pastor Moody. I really feel like this was a pleasure. I get to hear you in the pulpit often, but very rarely do I get to sit down and speak to you one-on-one. So this has been a real joy. I appreciate it.
Thank you. You're welcome. I'm glad you had me.
Back to you, Armand.
Wow. Thank you, Dr. Brim and Reverend Moody, for that wonderful discussion. You both inspired me to continue to develop my leadership skills. We will now transition to the moment we've all been waiting for as we honor an individual who has played a foundational role in my life. This award recipient definitely carries the spirit of Whitney M. Young Jr. The Whitney M. Young Jr. Service Award is one of the highest ranked awards given to Boy Scouts of America and is given to an individual or organization that displays outstanding service through demonstrated involvement in the development and implementation of scouting opportunities for youth in low-income backgrounds throughout West Michigan. Please join me in watching a few short clips from a few individuals who would like to share their congratulatory messages for this year's award recipient.
My name is John Goad, and I have known the Moyer family for a number of years. Some years ago, as a board member at Mel Trotter Ministries, I was recruiting new young board members, and I met a brilliant and beautiful young lady by the name of Tanya Moyer, and couldn't wait to bring her on staff as a board member at Mel Trotter. She did, and I believe still continues to do a wonderful job. Along the way, I met her husband, Lee, and we became friends, and that's just been one of the greatest joys of my life. I eventually asked Lee to join us here at Boy Scouts at the Gerald Ford, President Ford Field Service Council as one of our board members, and he graciously did that. Two things come to my mind when I think about Lee, and they're wrapped up in something that the Apostle Paul wrote to the Christians at Corinth in his first letter. In chapter 4, he writes this: "It is required in servants that a man be found faithful." When I think about Lee Moyer, I think about two things. First of all, he is a servant. The guy's got a servant's heart, and he pours himself into the lives of not only his own family, but the children in our community, and he does it selflessly. Secondly, I think of how faithful Lee is. In the morning, his feet hit the floor and he is running. He has packed his day with so much activity, and so much of it is really just giving, it's not earning. When I heard that Lee was nominated for the award, I couldn't have been more thrilled. I've known several guys that have been given this award, and he fits well in that company of giants in our community. So Lee, congratulations. I couldn't be happier for you. I don't know that it's overdue. It certainly is on time. So enjoy it. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Lee, congratulations on being selected as this year's Whitney M. Young Jr. Service Award recipient. You mean so much to everyone who is in your life. When I think of you, I think of someone who is reverent to his God, as someone who is loyal to his family, loyal to his friends, and overall just a bright ray of sunshine in all of our lives. In fact, I remember coming to Troop 258 eager to be a part of a troop again. And I met you and Kenyatta and Tracy, and I cannot say how all of you accepted me into the troop and really wanted to make sure that I felt welcome there. And you were a big part of that. So in honor of our troop and of the scouting spirit, I want to think of a few points of the Scout Law that really, when I think of them, I also think of Lee Moyer. The first off being, as I mentioned, a Scout is loyal. Lee is loyal to the community that he lives in. He will do anything to make that community better. He's loyal to his family. I feel like sometimes I've just been welcomed and a part of your family, Lee. Coming to your house for Scout meetings, camping at your house at times. It's always great to see you and the love that is with your family. And I think of someone who's friendly. Lee, I'm gonna tell you, sometimes you gotta let me open the door for myself. You know, if I don't get my workout in, I gotta get it in through opening those doors. But I do appreciate you doing that. You're always kind in that way. And Lee, as I mentioned, you exude kindness. I'm gonna tell you, we in this community are much better off with you being in our lives and being so focused on making positive changes for youth and for our entire community. Once again, I can't think of a better person for this award, and congratulations.
Hello, my name is Kenyatta Brain, and I, along with Lee Moyer and Chad Patton, are the Scoutmasters for Troop 258, the Omega Scouts. The Omega Scouts are one of the very few African American troops in Western Michigan that focuses on providing scouting opportunities to youth of color. My wife Tracy and I started Troop 258 and Pack 3206 in 2012 because at the time, many young boys of color were not provided scouting opportunities. As we all know, scouting can provide opportunities to the youth to become future leaders. Scouting teaches our scouts not only to face, but to overcome challenges in everyday life. It teaches them to be prepared. We are proud of our troop, our parents, and all the accomplishments of all of our boys and now girls. And I'm happy to be part of this scouting family. I'm equally proud to work with great leaders like Mr. Lee Moyer. He has been key in making this troop a success and a reality. Whether we are camping or fishing or boating or hiking or swimming, he makes scouting fun, and you can tell he truly cares about all of our scouts. Like Whitney Young, Lee has dedicated much of his life to the advancement of the people in his community. Lee is a great role model to his family, his fraternity, and all the scouts in our troop. Lee is an Eagle Scout and is an example of what all of our scouts aspire to be trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. It is a great pleasure to work with him. He is most definitely worthy of being recognized as this year's Whitney Young Jr. Service Award recipient. Lee, we don't say thank you enough. Continue to make a difference in the lives of all the people that you touch. I appreciate you, and we all love you. On behalf of the Omega Scouts, congratulations and thank you.
Whitney M. Young Jr. said, "It's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared." President Calvin Coolidge once said, "Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent." Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Wayman Britt, and I have the distinct pleasure and honor of presenting the 2020 Whitney M. Young Jr. Award to Mr. Lee Moyer. Lee, we are so proud of you and the spirit you carry each day as you pave the way for many youth to become leaders just like you are today. In times like these, it is crucial to remember that good things are still happening and that the positive change that we all want is still a possibility. We commend you for all the work you have accomplished, all the things that you have done in this community, and more importantly for the Scouts' lives you have impacted in your 13 years of service in the Scouting program. Congratulations, Lee, and thank you so much for all that you do for Scouting.
I am so grateful and thankful for receiving the Whitney M. Young Junior Service Award on behalf of the President Ford Division of the Michigan Crossroads Council. I am elated and excited. Thank you all so much, and more so honored than anything. I have had an opportunity to work with Scouts in the past for years on the east side of the state and the west side of the state now, and there's nothing like West Michigan. I am truly grateful and thankful, number one, to God for allowing me to just go out and serve, just spend the air in my lungs to be able to go out and serve our youth. And I am so very grateful for my wife of 19 years for allowing me to spend this time out here with the Scouts. So I love you, honey. I'm also thankful for my parents who pushed me. Funny thing was that I was kind of neglected to want to get involved with Scouts, and they pushed me and got me on board, and I absolutely love everything about Scouting, and I'm so very grateful for you all. So thank you so much as well. And I am extremely grateful for Tracy Kenyatta Brame and Pastor Reverend Nathaniel Moody, who has the foresight to be able to create an organization and allow us to have an organization and a troop in his church, and them coming up with the inner city idea to be able to reach back to youth in the inner city has been phenomenal. I definitely wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my Scout Masters of Troop 55 of Durham, North Carolina, who put so much into me as I was coming up. Charles Harris, Mr. James Russell, and Mr. Bazell, thank you all so much. And Mr. J.W. Carrington, thank you so much for everything that you all did in order to make me a better man and a better leader in our community. And I just thank you all. And I'd also finally like to take the time out to thank all the youth who allowed me to serve them. I think we take for granted the youth and everything that they do these days. And I am just so impressed with our youth and how they're growing up. And I love the fact that I now have youth that I can say that I know personally with my family, with my son Armand, as well as Phoenix, who's in Scouts, and Booker T, who's in Scouts as well. So I love you all. thank you so much. Thank you for everything that you've given me. And again, thank you to the Fulfilling the Dream team committee for honoring me and choosing me for this wonderful award. And great job, team, on a great program. And Bridget, thank you so much for your efforts as well. I'd also like to thank everybody who joined today, my work colleagues, my boss and my care management peeps, as well as our PI friends over there. I also like to thank my business family who is joining me as well. I'm super excited to have you all here online, and my in-laws, to all of my mentors who sit on the board as well. And I'd like to thank Aaron Gatch for his hard work as well with the wonderful President Ford Division here at Michigan Crossroads Council.
Congratulations, Dad. We are so proud of you. To wrap up our time together, please join me in welcoming Tom Welch, Regional President of Fifth Third Bank, who will be sharing about the power of joining us in the support of the Scouting movement. Take it away, Tom.
Thank you, Armand, and sincere thanks to the Fulfilling the Dream Committee for inviting me to participate in this inspiring program. It's an honor to be with you, and especially to be able to add a personal note of congratulations and gratitude to Lee Moyer. Lee, as a leader in the lives of our Scouts, you have set an example of the kind of men they can become. Through your leadership, our Scouts find compelling reasons to step up and perhaps step out of their comfort zone. You have created an environment where they can stretch and grow and learn life skills that will equip them to become leaders among their peers and in their communities. That's really what Scouting is all about. So thank you. Now, most of you are probably familiar with the essay 100 Scouts. For those who are not, it begins, of any 100 boys who become Scouts, and goes on to describe what they achieve and the impact they make. I came across the essay several years ago when my own boys were Scouts. At that time, I recognized that Scouting had as much to teach parents as it taught our sons. And the essay really resonated with me. I reread it as I was thinking about the Vital Outreach program that we are supporting here today. A few passages underscore the true value of this program, both for the boys whose Scouting experience it supports and for the communities where they live. Here's why. Of the 100 Scouts, only rarely will one ever appear before a juvenile court judge. Each of the 100 will learn something from Scouting, and almost all will develop hobbies that will add interest throughout the rest of their lives. Many will serve in the military. At least one will use it to save another person's life, and many will credit it with saving their own. Finally, only 1 in 4 boys in America will become a Scout. But it is interesting to know that of the leaders of this nation in business, religion, and politics, 3 out of 4 were Scouts. Based on that, I ask you, what if we had a couple Scouts on every street in every neighborhood in our community? What if we had a few Eagle Scouts in every zip code? What if through your support of the outreach program today, we could populate our community with 100 or 200 more Scouts? What impact would that make on their lives and on our own? Would our community be better off because of it? Would it be a safer and more welcoming place for all our children? Would we see less crime and violence? Would this be a more racially and socially just place to live? Would we be more civil and more respectful of those around us? We need the kind of leaders that Scouting develops. And we need your support to make Scouting accessible to all kids in West Michigan. That's how we build a better community. Please give generously by texting FTD to 91999, or click the donate button to the right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tom. Wow, we've heard some amazing stories of Scouting's impact today, specifically from our MC Armand. You know, there are thousands of children just like Armand participating in the programs of Scouting as we sit here today. But I'm reminded that there are thousands of other children in our community who could join the programs of the Boy Scouts of America. But there are 3 critical ingredients that we need to make sure a Scouting program can happen and that all children get access. Number 1, we need caring adult mentors to raise their hand and volunteer as leaders in the Boy Scouts of America and our local Scouting programs. Lee, congratulations for this well-deserved award, recognizing your hard work and making certain that every child has access to the Scouting programs in your community. And to Tracy, thank you for your great words today and for your volunteerism and leadership with your local Scouting units. Second, we need organizations to step up and support and sponsor local Scouting programs in all of our communities. Pastor Moody, thank you for your words today. And more importantly, thank you for you and your church stepping up and sponsoring local Scouting programs so that our leaders have a safe place to meet and the resources they need to impact children's lives. The final ingredient is all of you. Thank you for taking time to watch this program and to make a financial contribution to the outreach programs of the Boy Scouts of America. The dollars raised go to fuel helping organizations sponsor local Scouting programs, training leaders, and providing assistance for every child to access Scouting programs. Thank you for your financial contribution. And I hope all of us will take time to share the link to this program with others who maybe missed it today so that they can hear Scouting's message of impact. And if you know an organization that would like to sponsor a local Scouting program, I hope you'll come forward or reach out or refer them so that they can learn about supporting Scouting in their local community. Thanks for what you do for Scouting, and we'll see you on the trail.
Hi, Scout families and leaders. Did you know that the Michigan Crossroads Council serves more than 60,000 Scouts and 25,000 volunteer leaders across the Lower Peninsula of Michigan? Last year, our Scouts performed more than 250,000 hours of community service, earned 29,589 rank advancements, and 38,809 badges by learning new skills, including 1,076 Eagle Scouts, and more than 8,600 youth enjoyed a summer camp experience. Making great friends, learning new things, and going on adventures close to home and far away. From life-changing experiences to timeless values, being a Scout in the Michigan Crossroads Council means doing things we never imagined. We all know what it means to be a Scout, but what does it mean to be a friend of Scouting? Being a friend to Scouting is a commitment to the Scouts in your life and our community. Supporting them, volunteering your time, sharing Scouting stories every chance you get. And it means giving. Yes, giving. Because without local donors, all these experiences and their lifelong benefits wouldn't be possible. Our council provides every youth the opportunity to be a Scout, support and training for volunteer leaders, recruitment materials for every unit, and online resources. Our outreach programs enabled thousands of youth from the urban core and across the council to experience the adventure of Scouting. These are just a few of the ways our council delivers a great Scouting program. For 110 years, the Boy Scouts of America has been training young people in Michigan. Through Scouting, these youth have gained leadership, learning, service, and adventure. Scouting develops character, citizenship, and personal fitness. And above all else, we instill in our members the importance of being prepared. Learning from those historical Scouting values is what makes our leaders in Scouting leaders in our world. Every time our nation has faced times of crisis, our Scouts have been among the first responders in providing support. In the early years of our movement during World War I, Scouts were pitching in through the Every Scout to Save a Soldier campaign. Scouts sold mission and war bonds, helping to do their part to support our service members. During natural disasters, uniformed Scouts have been among the first to help gather goods, check on the vulnerable, and provide aid to those in need. And after 9/11, Scouts were there to help rebuild the community and our nation. As we enter another time of uncertainty, Scouts stand at the ready once again. In the Michigan Crossroads Council, more than 60,000 Scouts are training to become the ethical leaders we need now more than ever. Our Eagle Scouts have gone on to provide guidance and direction in some of the highest offices in our land. As medical personnel, as first responders, as caregivers, as military and National Guard members, as elected officials, and as faith leaders. These people got their start earning Scouting merit badges like emergency preparedness, public health, first aid, and citizenship in the community, nation, and world. As our society looks for leadership in times of challenge, we look to Scouting. Scouts have always been prepared. With your help, we can continue to build the leaders, trustworthy leaders, helpful leaders, brave leaders. Your support is needed more now than ever before, and it allows us to in turn support the sustainability of life-changing programs Scouting has always offered and always will. Contributing is easy on your mobile device. Text Giving the Dream to 91999. We all need a little help from our friends right now. Scouting is no exception. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.